Hello students, welcome to a new lecture of periodic table. In the last class we were discussing about ionization potential, what factors decides how much ionization potential you need, and now the next periodic property which we see is electron gain enthalpy and electronegativity. Right. Let us first look at electronegativity, right, because it is directly related with atomic radius and ionization potential. And I already told you, whatever periodic property you want to discuss, you should know what happens to atomic radius, because on atomic radius only every other property depends, right. And let us recall that in a period from left to right, atomic radius decreases, and in a group from top to bottom, atomic radius increases, right. So now electronegativity is whenever you want to make any molecule, you need a combination of two atoms, right. So suppose you made HCl molecule in which one is hydrogen atom, the other is chlorine atom, right. Both of them gave one electron, and this electron pair is nothing but a bond, right, and that electron pair should be equally shared by both. Electron pair now belongs to both chlorine as well as hydrogen, and therefore both of them should share that electron pair, right. But because chlorine has got more power or more charge to attract the electron, to attract the shared electron pair towards itself, what it does is the electron pair move towards chlorine and away from hydrogen. So let us now define what electronegativity is. The ability of the atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. Actually it should remain exactly in the center, but as chlorine has got more power, what it does is it will attract the electron pair which is supposed to be in the center towards itself. So in that case what happens, electron pair move towards chlorine and chlorine get minus charge, it moves away from hydrogen and hydrogen gets plus charge. That property of attracting the electron pair towards itself, right, is called as electronegativity. If electronegativity of the atom is more, it will attract the electron towards itself more, and the atomic radius will also be dependent on electronegativity only, right. Suppose what happens to electronegativity, this is what electronegativity is. Now in a period and group, what happens to electronegativity, how it changes depending on the size. So let us take an example of halogens only, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. In moving down from top to bottom, what happens to atomic radius? It increases from top to bottom. If atomic radius increases, the power of the nucleus, actually who attracts that electron pair, who has that capacity, the shells don't have. Who has all the capacities is for nucleus only. The shared pair of electron is getting attracted, we told. Who is doing that attraction, or who is taking away that shared electron pair is the inner nucleus of the chlorine, right. So it is the power of the nucleus which attracts the electron pair towards itself, right. So now in this group of halogens starting from fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, as the nuclear charge of fluorine is high, it has more power to attract the nucleus, to attract the electron towards itself, and one more reason is its atomic radius is less. Therefore from top to bottom, if atomic radius increases, charge of the nucleus decreases. If atomic radius increases, charge of the nucleus decreases and electronegativity becomes less. Charge of the nucleus is related to atomic electronegativity. If the charge of the nucleus is more, electronegativity will be more. If charge of the nucleus is less, electronegativity will also be less. On which property charge of the nucleus depends? On atomic radius. If atomic radius is more, charge will be less. If atomic radius is less, charge will be more. So, therefore, atomic radius will decide charge of the nucleus, which in turn decide electronegativity of the atom. So, now atomic radius is inversely proportional to electronegativity. Is inversely proportional to electronegativity. If atomic radius is more, electronegativity will be less. If atomic radius is less, electronegativity will be more. So, in this group, fluorine has got small size compared to others, therefore, its electronegativity will also be higher compared to others. And iodine has got large size and therefore, its electronegativity will be lesser compared to other halogens. Same way, in the period from left to right, what happens to atomic radius? It reduces. Therefore, electronegativity increases because the relation is opposite. In a period from left to right, if atomic radius decreases, electronegativity increases. That property is called as electronegativity, and based on that only we will see electron gain enthalpy. Enthalpy means energy, potential also means energy. You can call ionization potential or ionization enthalpy or ionization energy, whatever it is. The reason is how much energy you are giving to remove the electron. In this property, it is not about the energy you give. It is about the energy which is liberated by the atom. When will that happen? Suppose you are taking any atom to which you want to add electron, right? To add, whenever you add an electron to a neutral gaseous atom, same condition for ionization potential and electron gain enthalpy. Whenever you want to add any electron, for ionization potential it was to remove the electron, but for electron gain enthalpy it is to add the electron. Whenever you want to add the electron to a neutral gaseous atom, it accepts that electron and liberates electron gain enthalpy. And if the energy is liberated, it will always be minus. The energy liberated means the reaction is exothermic, energy is coming out, and that energy which comes out is in negative, right? So, now let us define electron gain enthalpy. The amount of energy released whenever you want to add an electron to a neutral gaseous atom is called as electron gain enthalpy. The more negative value you got, the more energy is released. The less negative value you got, the less energy is released, right? So, this is electron gain enthalpy, and electron gain enthalpy depends on electronegativity, right? If the electronegativity of the atom is more, it easily accepts the electron and it releases more electron gain enthalpy. If electronegativity is more, the electron gain enthalpy or the energy liberated will also be more. If the electronegativity is less, the energy released will also be less. So, for the same property in halogens is, as the electronegativity of fluorine is more, it releases more energy whenever electron is added, and iodine is having less electronegativity, it releases less energy when you add electron to iodine. This is about electron gain enthalpy and electronegativity. Now, all the periodic properties are over. The leftover is special properties of some groups of elements, and that group of elements are noble gases, transition elements, and what else? Noble gases, transition elements, and F block elements. Right? Let us look at the special properties of noble gases. Where are noble gases present? They are present in the extreme right side of the periodic table. They have fully filled octet electronic configuration, right? They comes in the last group. Therefore, the electrons present in those elements are fully filled. You cannot add any electron to noble gases, and you cannot even remove electron from the noble gases. Fully filled electronic configuration is there. There is no possibility to add any electron, and as they are fully filled, removal of electron from them is also very difficult. So, difficult to add or remove electron from them, right? Difficult to add or remove electron from them. That is one more special property of noble gases, right? And we know that chemical properties of any atom or molecule is because of electrons, right? Electrons are lost or gained, that only decides whether the atom takes place in the reaction or not. If the atom doesn't need any electrons to accept or doesn't need any electrons to donate, why will they participate in the reaction? They won't participate, right? As the electrons are fully filled, what happens? Noble gases don't have any reactivity. Noble gases don't react with others. If they don't react with others, what is their chemical reactivity? Is zero. As their chemical reactivity is zero, noble gases are also called as zero group elements or inert gases. Inert means those who don't react. Whatever you do, they don't react, they are called as inert, right? So, they are also called as, their configuration is ideal. No need to add, no need to remove. That is why they are called as noble. They don't have any reactivity, zero reactivity is there. Therefore, zero group elements or inert gases. These are the special characteristics of noble gases, and who comes under noble gases is helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. And as you know that noble gases don't react with others. If you take an example of any gas like hydrogen gas, nitrogen gas, the gas is formed by the combination of two atoms, right? Two hydrogen atoms together makes a gas molecule, right? So, they are biatomic gases, they are diatomic molecules or not? Yes. But the speciality of noble gases is they are gases but alone. They are gases but alone. Therefore, they are called as monoatomic gas. A single molecule, a single atom of helium is one gas. Another helium is another gas. They are monoatomic gases, and these are diatomic molecules, right? So, this is the special feature of noble gases. Let us look at the special feature of transition elements. What are transition elements and where are they present? Transition elements are d block elements which are present in the center of S and P. Transition elements, as they are present in between S and P block, they have some properties of S as well as P, right? They are trying to move towards P block, and in doing so they have some properties of S also, right? That is why they are called as a transition element. The special characteristic of transition is which type of elements are present in transition? They are metals. What type of metals they are? They are hard metals, right? If they are hard metals, what will be their melting point and boiling point? That also will be higher, right? What is the reactivity? They are reactive metals. Will they react or they are inert? No, they will react. If they are reactive metals, they are having high tendency to react with others, So if no one are present, what they do is they will react with themselves and form alloys. Alloys means if two metals react with each other, you will get a new compound in which both the metals property are there, and that is called as alloy formation. Though that property is rightfully utilized, should be rightfully utilized, but alloy means two metals sharing the properties of both of them will give you a new compound called as alloy, and that alloy formation ability is present in transition elements. What is the next? They will form their salts and having high different oxidation states are possible for them. Suppose I am taking an example of copper chloride, right? I am taking an example of cuprous chloride, in which copper has +1, chlorine has -1. This is cuprous chloride, and you also have one more compound in which cupric chloride is there, in which copper's oxidation state is this Cl minus 2, right? So the same compound is there, but the oxidation state of copper is different. This is just one example. For all the d Broglie elements, this property exists, in which they can have variable oxidation states. It's not fixed that copper should always have +1 only or +2 only. All the metals of transition elements can have not just one oxidation state, but many oxidation states, and that property is called as variable oxidation states are possible for transition elements, right? These are the properties of transition elements. Next special property is for F block elements, which is lanthanide contraction. Lanthanide contraction. Lanthanides means all the 4F series elements are called as lanthanides. It starts from lanthanum, cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, so on, right? Generally, if you increase the atomic number, or if you increase the number of electrons in a period from left to right, if you go, what happens to atomic radius? What happens to atomic radius was it decreases, and from top to bottom atomic radius increases, right? Lanthanum electronic configuration is 4f0 5d1 6s2. This is the valence electronic configuration of lanthanum. Till lanthanum, f orbitals don't have any electron, but from cerium the differentiating electron, instead of going as d2, d3, d4, what it does is it starts going into the f orbital, and d and s remains same. Then comes praseodymium, in which f2, 4, f3, like that it goes on taking place in the complete 4f series. As f orbitals, there are 7 f orbitals, total 14 electrons can come. Therefore, lanthanides has 14 elements excluding lanthanum. Lanthanum is the beginning element, that's why you call them as lanthanides. The elements which are followed by lanthanum are called as lanthanides, but lanthanum don't come into F block elements because there is no F electron in lanthanum. After lanthanum, instead of what should be the next configuration? D1, if lanthanum is having D1, next should have D2, D3, D4, but that does not happen. Instead, from cerium, electrons don't go into D, rather go into F, F1, F2, F3 till F14, right? So, if that differentiating electron is entering into F orbital with the increase in the nuclear charge, what happens? If the electron increases, nuclear charge also increases, right? If the electron increases, charge of the nucleus also increases. And you know that who is the valence electron here? Valence electron is 6th shell. Middle electrons 4f and 5d. And I told that screening effect will be shown by the middle electrons, not the valence electron, right? Though the electron is entering into f orbital, but f orbital is present in between. If this is the nucleus, this is middle electron, this is last electron, right? Screening effect of f orbitals, you please recollect. If the electrons are present in s orbital, will they have more screening effect or less? The order of screening effect was s, p, d and f. S orbital always have more screening effect and f orbital has less screening effect. So, if you go down from lanthanum till last, electrons are increasing, nuclear charge is also increasing. That means nucleus will try to attract the last electrons more, right? Nucleus will always try to attract the last electron more. But if screening effect comes in between, nucleus cannot do that work. If screening effect doesn't come in between, nucleus can easily attract the last electron towards itself. Who are there in between them now? F and D. F and D both don't have much screening effect. So, if they are not disturbing the nucleus to attract the last electron, can the last electron be attracted very strongly or not? Yes. The inner orbitals or the middle orbitals are F and D. Both of them has less screening effect. So, when both of them are present, they don't cause any disturbances and nucleus can show its effect on the last electron also very easily. Therefore, the answer, the definition of lanthanide contraction is, in lanthanides from cerium till lutetium, as the nuclear charge increases, screening effect of the f orbital is poor. Screening effect of f orbital is poor, right? Because of poor screening effect of f orbitals, nuclear charge on the last electron will be very high and the last electron gets attracted by the nucleus. Therefore, the size starts to decrease from lanthanum to cerium to praseodymium to neodymium to lutetium. So, from top to bottom, atomic radius decreases. This is an exceptional property of only lanthanides, because in the previous general rule of periodic table we have seen that from top to bottom atomic radius increases. A general rule in the complete periodic table was from top to bottom atomic radius increases, but in lanthanides from top to bottom, because of a poor shielding effect of f orbitals, atomic radius decreases from lanthanum to lutetium. So, lanthanum will be largest in size and lutetium will be smallest in size. This special property is called as lanthanide contraction. Here we will end the video of second chapter and we will meet in the next classes covering the remaining chapters. Okay, thank you.